Welcome to the Beyond the Years podcast, a podcast about all things Disney.
You are listening to episode 40. It's been a couple of weeks since we've talked to you guys. We've had a lot been going on in our personal lives, which we'll talk a little bit about today. But we've got a lot to cover. We've got 2 episodes of She-Hulk to cover. We're really mostly just going to talk about the newest episode, episode 8. Spoiler alert, it was the best episode.
For sure.
Hands down.
For sure.
And then we've got some Marvel news we'll talk about probably first. But before we get into that, we're just going to update you on why it's been a little bit longer since we've posted.
Yeah. So last week we were prepping for our craft show that we did. Because if you don't know, I think we've said it before, but we make comic book coasters. Mm-hmm. And so we were pretty much just, from last Tuesday to last Thursday night, we were just full go in getting everything ready mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the craft show on Friday and Saturday, and we were going to record on Sunday, but we were just pretty exhausted, and we decided not to record because we had, it was a busy Sunday since we had one day less off for the weekend.
I'm used to that, but you're not for sure.
Yeah.
Having only one day off at a time. So it was definitely a very busy Sunday.
Yeah. It's grocery shop, meal prep, all that kind of crap.
Yeah. And obviously we had to work during the week. We did take Friday off to do the show. And then the show on Saturday was literally 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So it was a long day Saturday, but we sold almost everything that we had. A pretty big chunk. We have very few DC coasters left, hardly any. Star Wars and Star Trek, there's hardly any left. Marvel we have a few.
Half of what it used to be.
Less
than half.
Oh yeah, we sold so much and we're so happy with that. So we're gonna just keep trucking along with that.
I also got to showcase my new Thor costume.
Oh yeah.
We could post a picture on our page.
On stories. Yeah. So Josh dressed up as Thor for the show for a little bit on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of pictures were taken with little kids and then dads.
Yeah, adults.
Yeah.
Adult males.
Yeah. It was kind of, I was like, oh, okay. Kind of interesting. But
and one lady, because she said, it's a craft show. So there's quite a few older people there. And older people that have booths.
Mm-hmm.
And she walked up and was like, I told them that I saw a man in armor walking around. And it's just a leather suit, but it obviously looks like armor. So It was just funny.
But anyway, so she took a picture with you.
Yeah.
To prove to her friends that she wasn't crazy.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you took a lot of pictures.
Yeah, it was lot of fun. Pictures. A lot of kids were holding the hammer, got to hold the hammer. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was definitely quite the experience. And then on top of it, Grayson was being a little wild this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
He did, like we said, start a new daycare on Monday. Very long story short, we've had some issues.
The wildness carried from the weekend to the new daycare. So that's all we'll really say.
Some behavioral stuff. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but definitely stuff we needed to kind of get under control. So we've been working on that all week. It has been a very stressful week. Very, very stressful. Today is Thursday. We're kind of on the tail end of that. He's had 2 good days in a row now. So tomorrow I'm going to be pretty carefree. I'm not going to be stressed out all day at work tomorrow again.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was physically making myself sick because I was so worried.
First 2 days were just rough because it's a new school and there's new everything, new teachers, new friends, new everything. So It was just a little rough on him. But we're on the tail end of that, like she said, and next week will be good.
Yeah.
So
we're working with the school. We had to come up with a plan together, but
Sorry.
Were you saying no to me? Like I couldn't talk about that?
No, I was like having a twitch.
I don't even know. Anyway, we're working with the school on discipline because he's at that age where you just kind of have to have a plan.
He's a three-nager.
A three-nager for sure. But anyway, today was good. Yesterday was good. We're feeling better about it. I think he's getting it more into a routine. And so we feel good about it. It was just a little bit of a harder transition than we expected. But anyway, so that's kind of why we haven't posted this week, because I was on the verge of a mental breakdown. But we're hoping to get back into the routine of doing these. There's so much exciting things happening all of the time. So
yeah, and next year we'll be doing a podcast every day for 365
oh my God,
days.
you're back to that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get into like the meat of this podcast. You said you have a couple of things, Marvel, you want to talk about? Or one thing, really?
Yeah. The one major thing. Well, actually, I guess two kind of major things. They dropped an official trailer for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched it yet?
I haven't.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I haven't watched any TV today except for on my lunch I watched She-Hulk.
Well, they dropped the trailer on, I think, Monday.
And we've watched very little TV this
Yeah, I
week.
understand. But the trailer dropped, I think, Monday or Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks pretty good.
I'll have to watch it today. But
yeah,
what is that, November 12th?
November 11th.
11th?
Yep.
Okay. So that'll be one we see in theaters.
Yeah, we're going with my
brother.
my brother-in-law
Mm-hmm.
and sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
So we're excited about that. And then the biggest piece of news, in my opinion, is the Ryan Reynolds on his YouTube dropped like a big bomb on us all and was like, "Hey guys, here's the thing, Deadpool 3, we're really working on it." And he's like just talking to the camera, and then Hugh Jackman is walking behind him. He's like, "Hey Hugh, you want to play Wolverine again?" And he was like, "Sure, Ryan." So, I mean, we officially got confirmation of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in Deadpool 3, which is so freaking awesome because I love Wolverine, and I know that's like a cliche. Kind of like if someone says like, "Hey, what's your favorite DC character?" and they say Batman. Because like everyone loves Batman. I feel like that's kind of the way with Wolverine. You say like, "What's your favorite X-Men character?" Like, "Oh, Wolverine." Like, "Oh yeah, you're one of those guys."
Yeah.
But like, Wolverine is such a cool character, so it's like,
yeah,
you have to love him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no like plot details yet. I mean, from what I've kind of heard, it's gonna be like not a buddy cop, but like a cross country tour or cross multiverse tour kind of movie. So who knows what's going to happen. There is a rumor that there could be a Wolverine versus Hulk, which is how we got introduced to Wolverine in the comics back in the day. Wolverine fought Hulk, so in the Canadian forest.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, we could get something like that. Potentially, if they're like going through multiverses, and I don't know, but we could definitely see that.
Who knows?
Yeah,
so hard to predict things these days.
Yeah, but I'm absolutely stoked for that movie.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was cool because I feel like that was something that everyone was expecting to be announced at D23 was Deadpool 3.
Yep.
And they didn't, and it's because it's like they wanted it to have its own moment. So I thought that was great.
Oh yeah, 100%. And by the way, our Deadpool coasters sell like hotcakes all the time. Deadpool is very loved.
Deadpool is for sure. I think we only have one left.
Yep.
I don't even know.
But
hard to keep track of everything, but
yeah. So we're both excited for this movie And
I liked Deadpool 2 better than Deadpool 1, but it's been a long time since I've seen either of them.
I think I like Deadpool 1 better than Deadpool
Okay.
2.
Okay. Well, do you have any other Disney Marvel news?
Not that I can think of at the top of my head because I'm too obsessed with today's episode of She-Hulk.
Oh my God, I know. So I just say one thing really quick, and then we'll talk about episode 7 of She-Hulk really quick. We'll blow through that, guys. Trust us. And then we'll really get to episode 8. So, obviously, most people probably know Hurricane Ian just hit Florida and the coast. Disney World actually shut down for a day. They Disney World in Orlando was not hit very hard, but they did shut down for a day. So that's kind of random Disney news right now. But
I know there's a lot of flooding at Disney World, but that always happens.
Universal got hit way harder than Disney World did. They
Where's
actually
Universal
had some damage. It's I don't.
South of Orlando.
I'm not gonna say anything because I'm not 100% sure. I just know it's about 20 or 30 minutes away, and it got hit hard enough to cause damage. But anyway, I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok about people in the area, and obviously just thinking about people that have to go through tragic losses like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, the footage I've seen is crazy. Like
a
that
lot of flooding. I think there's been over 100 reported deaths so far. Just crazy.
Just the that one island that's off the coast. I can't remember what it is, but it got completely like demolished. Fort Myer, maybe.
Yeah.
Is just completely gone.
It's crazy. Okay, well, we'll move on. You can look at a map. Okay, so episode 7 of She-Hulk, was it called The Retreat? I think that's what it was called.
I believe so.
Something like that. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on this episode.
I liked this episode, or that episode, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was funny, and I really like Emil.
I agree.
Blonsky. And the whole, like, the parole officer being scared to death to go by himself and have to call Jennifer cracked me up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say too much about this episode because we really want to get to episode 8. But I will say, so Josh watched it before me and he was like, I don't really think you're going to like this episode. And then so I kind of had like no expectations going into it because the past previous weeks have been like progressively worse. And I'm like, was getting to the point of like kind of being done with the show because I was bored.
Yeah.
And then episode 7 with Emil Blonsky and The Retreat, I actually really liked it. I think it's because I really like Emil. He's so funny, really entertaining character. And just the whole, like, I guess, plot of that episode was, it was just really fun and light. And then obviously at the end, it kind of confirmed what we all knew already. It wasn't much of a secret that Josh guy did, in fact, like,
work for the intelligentsia.
Yes, and he drew her blood while she was sleeping and, like, took videos and stuff of her.
Yep. I had to look it up. So, Disney World is actually further south than Universal Studios.
Okay, so
if you're looking at Orlando proper, first you come to Universal is first, and then 20 minutes south of that is Walt Disney Studios.
Yeah.
It's
so
crazy.
Disney is just more like in the middle.
Yeah, they're like dead center. They're like dead center of Florida, almost like north and south. So anyway, I just had to say that real quick because I was like, oh, I'm kind of interested where they're located now. That was
extremely distracting trying to have a conversation with someone who's like not paying attention at all. Okay, so what else about episode 7?
The characters. Man-Bull. A Man-Bull!
Yeah, he was funny.
And Porcupine. And I can't remember the other one.
The Dracula.
Yeah, that...
the vampire character.
Saracen, which is, by the way, is like a deep cut Like he was like the first vampire in Marvel Comics, I'm pretty sure.
I really liked him. He was really funny.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see him like return in like Blade. Because he's like, because they all said he thinks he's a vampire, but like he actually is a vampire. So
I liked the whole like group setting of like group therapy.
Yeah.
And Jen kind of having a little bit of a revelation, you know,
An existential crisis.
Yeah, like
she's waiting on Josh to message her back.
Yeah, he ghosted her, you know, obviously because he's a bad guy. She didn't know that yet. But just accepting that if he wanted to be with you, he would be with you. And if he's not reaching out, it's because he doesn't. And you just need to move on and accept it.
Yeah, which that's why, like, you said you loved Emil. And I, like, totally agree. Like, Emil, like, even though his little rhetorics don't make any sense, they kind of do.
Yeah. No, I love him. He's so funny.
Yeah. And I can't wait till he like transform into Abomination and he's like talking like Emil as Abomination.
It does make me want to watch The Incredible Hulk a little bit just to see like
the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally different. Not even close to the same.
I don't know if it's enough to make me actually want to like actually watch it though.
Yeah. I understand.
But it does pique a little bit of an interest there because I love the character.
Yeah. So, we're kind of just going to wrap this up. Like, she gets in the little yurt and she has, like, her revelation. And, like, all the characters are... Oh, I guess we should mention that the dude that attacked her in, like, episode 3
yeah.
was one of the guys in the group.
Uh-huh.
And... it was the dude with the crowbar, the Asgardian crowbar. So, like, he was in that group, and she's like, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
And, like, she attacked him, and, like, then they settled their differences, and I still am like, I don't know if I believe that guy or not, or if he's actually, like, changed.
No idea. I don't...
Like, the whole Emil setting anyway, I don't even know if I, like, really, truly think if they're, like, trying to be good, or if they're there just to be there.
I think I'm just choosing to be like blissfully ignorant at this point with it and just, you know, we'll just assume it's happy and that's it right now.
Yeah.
And then if otherwise, they will let us know in the next episode probably. So.
But yeah, that episode wasn't my favorite, but out of the lesser episodes that we've had, it's my favorite out of those.
Yeah, it was definitely the best from like episode 5, 6, 7,
4, 5, 6,
something like that.
Well, I guess 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, it kind of redeemed itself a little bit at that point.
Yeah,
and then episode 8 happened.
Okay,
and it totally redeemed itself. You want to talk about it a little bit?
So, what do you know? What this episode is called?
No.
What the name is?
No.
Okay, but it should be called like Welcome Daredevil because. Charlie Cox as Daredevil comes back in this episode.
Dude, this episode was absolutely like the best episode. It was paced perfectly.
Yeah.
And obviously we had a big introduction and I loved the way they introduced him. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah. Well, I love that we got him in No Way Home as like Matt Murdock lawyer.
Yeah.
And like it's obviously like we're building these like foundation like, hey, Matt Murdock exists in this universe now, like 100%.
Uh-huh.
And like then obviously we get the tease for She-Hulk that he's gonna show up in this yellow, gold, and red suit.
Which, by the way, looked so good.
Yeah, the trailers never do it justice. I don't think, but man, seeing it in action, I was like, oh, this looks awesome.
Yeah, we'll get there. So we're just gonna kind of start right where
from
Daredevil.
The beginning.
Oh, right. Okay, go for it.
So. The frog, or God, is it Frogman? What I can't even think. Is it Frogman? He he makes his appearance. Or Leapfrog. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
And
who really cares anyway?
Oh man, because my brain is like so like Daredevil right now.
I know,
can't even
that's
think
all
of
I want to
anything
talk
else.
about.
But we have to start out with that because that like builds the whole story.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So he thinks he's this guard frog, as what he calls himself. And like he's telling the story to Jennifer as he's sitting in the like her office. So he said he's like, I attacked these two guys. I couldn't find a like a way to beat him because I was outnumbered, which was so stupid because he was just two dudes. And he's just like rolling around on the ground. And he uses his little jet boots and he like flies away and falls and then like comes crashing down.
Because the boots have a malfunction and then his legs catch on fire.
Yes. So he's, you know, talking to Jennifer about like, I want to sue the guy that made my suit. And she's like, okay, well, like, who made the suit? Like Luke Jacobson, or what is it, Jacobson? Or
I don't know. I just care about Daredevil.
We need to know. His name's Luke. I know that the guy's name, the designer's name is Luke.
Yes, he's making all of her suits and her dress for the gala tonight.
We got introduced to him in like episode 3 and 4 or something like that. So obviously it's like a conflict of interest, and so she goes to confront him and says like, hey, there's this guy who's going to file a suit against you because a faulty suit. And he's like, I do not make faulty equipment, and pretty much told Jennifer to like fuck off.
Yeah.
And his interactions with her every time, I laugh out loud every time he talks to her. Because he called her like a buffalo. Like, listen here, you big buffalo. Like, get out of my shop. So, they're in court.
Mm-hmm.
And it's her and Eugene, and then Luke's just by himself. And they're like, are you going to represent yourself? And he's like, no, I've got counsel coming. And boom, in walks Matt Murdock, Daredevil, a.k.a. You go a little bit.
Okay.
Because I want you to talk a little bit more too, because I feel like I'm just rambling.
Okay. So he walks in, he apologizes for being late, and then essentially they just have a little bit of banter back and forth between Matt Murdock and then Jen. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit of banter back and forth, trying to like, both of them are trying to kind of like prove their point. Yeah. And then Jen's client, Leapfrog, basically admits that he used jet fuel in the boots, and that is against the manufacturer's instructions or whatever. So essentially he just outed himself like he didn't use them properly. So obviously they're gonna, you know, they have no case. And then he's like, am I going to jail? And she's like, no, but I wish you were. Like, you should be, because you're so stupid. Anyway, so
I love whenever the interaction between her and Luke, whenever he's walking out, she's like, I'm so sorry about all this. Could you design my suits? And he's like, oh, Jennifer, Jenny. No. I hate you.
I love that character. He's so funny. Okay. And then we have, you know, that whole scene was pretty quick. Yeah. And then we kind of, you know, we went to a bar. I'm trying to like play by play. Jen goes to a bar. She sees Matt there.
He orders her a drink, which is a green apple martini, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah. And they just kind of get to talking a little bit about where he's from, what he does. He kind of wants, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's kind of insinuating that he wants her to help them do like their pro bono work that they do on the side, right?
I think so. I think he was like implying like it's good to help other people, not just like the big, you know, the people with a lot of money.
Yeah. And so they're having a conversation at the bar, and I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. Like, what is going on? Like, very obvious chemistry. Mm-hmm. Very obvious. And then she turns to the camera and she's like, are you guys feeling this too? Or is it just me? And I was like, yes, let's do it.
Well, he plays like, I'm sorry, but like he plays the perfect like Matt Murdock, like very like flirty and like stern, but like a sweet, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but he just, I'm like fanboying over Charlie Cox
Oh
because
my
I
God.
think he's fucking great.
Yeah.
But he does such a good job like playing this character.
Oh yeah.
It's
for
because
sure.
he like Hugh Jackman, he loves the character, and whenever Netflix canceled the series, he was like, "If you guys want me back, you just you gotta say you want me back." And like, the fans willed it into existence, and he's just taking it and running with it, and it's like it's perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so he gets a phone call, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Hey, I gotta go, but this was and he's like, "Great, we'll talk again sometime," and he like leaves, and then I can't even remember what Jen ends up doing.
I feel so. Okay, so she goes home, collapses onto the couch.
Oh wait,
and then
hold on. She has to go meet that weird dude at the bar, at another bar, because he bought that Wakandan spear.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Oh,
I was like, she goes home, collapses on the couch, and then she gets a phone call. Was that before or after?
that was at the bar because she's like, "I got something work too."
Oh.
Because Matt was like, "I gotta go. I got some work stuff," and she's like, "Oh yeah, I got work stuff too." So anyway, that they go to this like, I can't remember what the character's name is, but they go to that bar, and it's like that weird dude from I think episode 3, where he was like obsessed with She-Hulk, and he was in a couple episodes later on with the other lawyer, the other girl lawyer. I can't even remember her name.
Is it Maria or something?
No. Either way, it doesn't matter. But that was like one of her clients. So he was like, "I've got this Wakandan spear, and the Wakandans want it back because it was taken by colonizers."
Yeah.
And I can't remember what he says, but he's like trying to flirt with her and get with her. And she's like, "I'm done. Goodbye." And she just like pretty much shoves the table into his chest and leaves.
Yeah.
And then she goes home and collapses on the couch. And at that time, Eugene calls, and he's like, "I'm being chased right now."
Right.
So that's when she suits up in her super suit.
I know.
Finally.
Oh, that was a good moment.
Yeah. And she meets him at this like parking garage.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm trying to place everything together since I've only watched it the one time, but so she shows up, and then there's another person there who's trying to
Stop him.
stop Leapfrog,
Yeah.
basically. And so it's Daredevil. And so She-Hulk and Daredevil start fighting because she's trying to protect him, Leapfrog.
Yeah.
It sounds so stupid, but
I know.
she's trying to protect Leapfrog because he was her client, and he's basically said that he's being attacked. And then Daredevil is trying to stop him because he knows better. He knows that he's actually the bad guy. So we get a really good fight scene between Daredevil and She-Hulk.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then she like does her sonic clap thing.
Yep.
And obviously it throws off his hearing for a minute, and he's stunned for just long enough for her to run over and like rip his mask off, which I thought was so cool.
Yeah, that she went straight for the mask.
Yeah. She went straight for it, and then she was like, "Matt?"
Yeah.
And it was just like crazy. And then she was like, "Are you like even blind?
Yeah.
Were you faking being a blind guy?" And he's like, "No, I'm really blind. Chill out about it."
He's like, "I got this special kind of way that I see, and it's not seeing." And she's like, "Oh, like echolocation?" And he's like, "Yes, but no."
Yeah. Yeah, so they just had a really great banter going on, and it was adorable. And they just kind of talked about Leapfrog, and he had just kidnapped Luke or whatever, and he was actually the bad guy. And so they go together
To the lily pad.
Yes, to
His secret lair.
to stop him. And basically they're going to try to work together to stop him.
But we get a really good like Daredevil moment right before they go in. He's like showing her his powers. He's like, "There's 8 guys downstairs, there's 8 guys outside, and there's 10 guys in the main room." And she's just sitting there like, "You can hear their heartbeats?" Like, yeah, I can hear the heartbeats. And she's like, I don't believe you. And he's like, your heart's racing right now.
That was so funny.
And she's like, no, it's not.
I'm healthy.
I'm healthy, yeah.
That was so. Their little banter moments are perfect.
Yeah.
They have really great on-screen chemistry, and I loved every second of it. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, I wanted to come home and rewatch this episode today before we did the podcast because I loved it so much. Like, it was so fun, start to finish.
This is I was telling Army, and I was like, man, I could rewatch this episode like 100 times over.
Oh yeah, it was so good. Okay, so they've kind of talked about the plan. He's like, just set this one out. I've got it. It takes me about 15 seconds to take out each person. And then her math was like, oh, we don't have 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's like, your math is not right. But obviously she was doing that on purpose. But so he kind of decided he was going to go in and take care of it. And she was just going to stand back. Yeah.
And we get this amazing, like, really short hallway fight scene, which is like what Daredevil's known for, like especially in the Netflix show, is the hallway fight scenes. Like that's his big, like, oh man, you know it's serious when there's a hallway fight scene. So they get like a little glimpse of that, and he takes out like 3 or 4 guys, and then they're like, backup's on their way, and the backup comes, and Jennifer just smashes through the roof. And she's like, your way was taking too long. So then they like get into the main room with Leapfrog and where Luke is held.
You can continue to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
The fight scene is a little blurry for me. You'll have to kind of bring it back.
I can't remember what exactly happens, but I know Jennifer goes over and like pulls off Luke's straps.
Yeah,
he's strapped down to, and she's like, get out of here. And he's like, I can't remember what he says.
She said, get out of here, go call the police. And he's like, don't yell at me, or something like that.
And I think he said like, we're gonna call this even, or something like that, as in like he's gonna make her close again.
Yeah, I think that was maybe later. I'm not sure. Anyway, so he escapes. Leapfrog decides that he can't really win this one, so he jumps out the window. Right? And he like probably breaks his legs.
Rip it and rip it. And he like jumps out, and then it like cuts to the next scene where he's getting taken out on a stretcher. Him as a character reminded me of somebody in Arrow, the show. Yeah. The DC show Arrow. Yeah.
With the Green Arrow. He was very like, just like the type of character that he is. It felt like a character that we saw in Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Like very cheesy.
Yeah.
Kind of just random.
I thought the guy sounded like Andy Samberg. I
didn't even think about that, but I'll have to listen for it next time.
When he was talking, I was like, that sounds like freaking Andy Samberg, but I knew obviously it's not. But when he says ribbit and rip it, I was like, oh my God. But, you know, at the end of that whole fight scene, Jennifer is talking to the police and like pretty much giving her piece of like what happened. And she goes back on the roof, and Matt's sitting up there, and she's like, you don't talk to the police much, do you? He's like, no. He's like, I just let them do their thing. And then they get like some flirtatious like little nudges. Like, you did a good job in there. And like, oh, you did a good job in there. And like it's like really cute because it's like two characters you're kind of like rooting for.
Oh yeah.
And one, because you feel bad for Jen. And obviously, like Daredevil, he's just like a great character. So it's like, oh yeah, get a win, buddy. And he's like, my flight leaves tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so she asked him, she's like, how long are you in town for? And he's like, my flight leaves tomorrow morning. And she was kind of like bummed out about that. And then he was like, maybe next time I'm in town, we can go get dinner or something. And she kind of was like, or we could just
skip dinner. And then
it just like kind of cut to them like knocking down a door and like gonna go have sex.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic. I think I might have like squealed at that point. I'm like literally sitting in my car eating my lunch just like by myself. Oh my God, not like that, but whatever. Anyway, I loved it. I ate that up. That whole
No,
situation.
it was funny. I mean, it was like, I mean, not funny. It was like cool because Jen was like, okay, some like a superhero that's a lawyer that like I can relate to, you know, instead of just like some douche guy, Josh, that, you know, she thought just ghosted him kind of thing.
Yeah. No,
So it was like a win-win.
Loved it for sure. And then we get the walk of shame.
In the Daredevil suit.
Yeah.
Which, oh, by the way, she when they first meet as him as Daredevil, she says, "Wow, whose idea was it to have a mustard and ketchup suit?" And he's like, "Oh, that was Luke's idea." And she's like, "Don't tell him I said that."
Yeah.
God, we might have to watch this episode like twice because it was so good.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was really good. He does the walk of shame. She's breaking the fourth wall talking to us, and then her friend walks in. She's like, where were you? Like, I couldn't get a hold of you.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, there was this weird guy walking outside
in a devil costume,
dressed like a devil, doing the walk of shame. And then obviously like Jen, you know, can't hide the fact that that was her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just giddy.
Yeah. Super happy, which was like, oh yay, Jennifer's happy.
I know, it was so cute. Loved it.
I love that whenever she's breaking the fourth wall and she's like, what are you guys still doing here? Like, that was a satisfying ending. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you still here? And then, Ginger walks in. Or, that's the actress's name. Nikki walks in and she's like, what are you doing? Like you said, what are you doing? And she's like, is this the episode before the season finale? Is this coming to a close? And she's like, this must be some like big tension coming up. And then it like cuts straight to the gala event.
Yeah. So Jen got to wear her beautiful dress that was designed by Luke, long sleeve silver dress, looked really good. To the gala. And it was for what, woman attorney of the year, woman lawyer.
Yeah, woman attorney of the year. Yeah. And like her family was there, her mom and dad, obviously Nikki, and like all her bosses, and I think a couple of the other lawyers were there as well. But whenever they go, like, all right, and the attorney of the year goes to She-Hulk, as well as blah blah blah, and they name off like a bunch of other female lawyers. Mm-hmm. And She-Hulk like looked stunned at first.
Yeah,
because she thought like, oh, I didn't know this was like a multiple thing.
Yeah.
And she does like her little acceptance speech, and she's like, I just want to thank my mom and my dad. And about that time, like the TV screen behind him like goes to like this little Hulk figure, and it's like, She-Hulk is not who she says she is. She's a slut and something else. And then it shows like Josh and her like having sex, and she gets raged, and is it Melanie, the other lawyer?
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
She's like, don't do it, Jen, and she cracks the screen, and then like starts to rage out.
Yeah, she like pulls the whole screen down. She breaks it.
Yeah. And she starts to rage out, and she catches up to this one dude that's like in a mask and like a black hat. And then like they run outside, and there's a bunch of guns like pointed at her. And then like the episode comes to an end. Like she looks at the camera, and it just like cut to end, and it's like, oh no, no post credit scene either. So
what do you think's gonna happen next week?
I can't even tell you. I mean, I don't think Matt's going to show back up. I think this has to close, because we had a good closing for that. So I think Daredevil is done. He might show up like in a post-credit scene after the next episode, but I think like for now his character's done. He's not going to stay, in my opinion. Because it ruins like the growth of She-Hulk, because it's going to be like, oh, Daredevil's still there. So, obviously, we're gonna find out like who the villain is of this series, because there really hasn't been. I mean, there's been a villain, but it's been like not like a standout, like, this is Gore the God Butcher kind of villain. You know what I mean? It's just something in the background, and Jen has no idea. She just thinks it's a bunch of creeps online that are like talking bad about her. So, I mean, I couldn't tell you what's gonna happen in the episode or in this to end the series. I hope it's a longer episode. Like this one was pretty long.
Almost 30 minutes.
Yeah,
I think it was like
I think it was almost 35 minutes. A 35 minute. I think the episode length was like 39, and obviously you get like 4 minutes of credits.
Yeah, but just amazing.
Yeah, this was definitely the best episode, and I would probably say one of the best MCU show episodes.
Oh yeah, it was so great. They just have amazing chemistry. That just worked. I was not expecting a romantic relationship whatsoever. Like that was not even on my radar. But I don't know about you, but I was completely shocked by that, and it just worked really well. Like their chemistry was amazing.
I mean, I didn't know they were gonna knock boots, but like She-Hulk is kind of. I mean, she sleeps around in the comics. Like she slept with a lot of guys. So, I mean, I love the character though. So I think I love the character of Daredevil and She-Hulk. So I thought it was really cool, and not that it could be like a relationship, but I mean, I don't even know how to explain that, because if he ended up dating like Karen Page, I don't think she would be like jealous. I think she'd just be like, "Oh, I'm so happy for you." You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's not like she's like, "Oh, this is my guy."
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I think a lot of it stems with like the whole like, he's a superhero, she's a superhero. Like there's just a different, like not a brother sister relationship there, but just like a close friend relationship. I don't know what else to say. I kind of went on a tangent, so go ahead with whatever you want to say.
Oh, I don't know what else. I just love the episode.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on what's going to happen next week?
I really have no idea. I mean, obviously it's going to have to come to a head. We're probably going to get Emil Blonsky, because why else would he be, introduced in the series, kind of random. So we'll probably get him as Abomination in the next episode, kind of like teaming up to save her or something. I have no idea. It seems like she's probably going to be arrested or something crazy.
Yeah. I don't even know. I mean, obviously she's going to get taken in. I'm assuming that's the Department of Damage Control. Like took Peter into jail and was a part of Miss Marvel.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, we'll probably get something along with the lines of that. That dude that's a part of it, he might show up. He was in No Way Home and Miss Marvel, the like head guy. He might show up in the next episode at the beginning. Man, beyond that, I have no idea, honestly.
Okay. Maybe you guys let us know who, those of you who are listening to the podcast, let us know what you think is going to happen in next week's episode 9 of She-Hulk, on our Instagram, or comment on the YouTube video that we have for this. We'd love to hear from you.
Season finale.
Yeah. I'm ready. So after She-Hulk, we kind of wanted to spread it out as far as like watching, like what shows we're watching, and only do like one at a time, because we try to do a podcast about most of the episodes. So Andor, we're going to start watching after She-Hulk. Yeah.
And I think we'll have to do it in like 3 episode segments, because by the time we start recording for it, they'll have 6 episodes out, because they drop 3 to begin with, and we're like 3 weeks behind.
Yeah. So we don't want to overwhelm ourselves with so much content, like we can't keep anything straight. So yeah, we're just kind of watching one show at a time, and then
I'm super excited to watch Andor, because I've heard really good things, and I've heard it's like Rogue One, and I really love Rogue One. So I'm excited either way.
I'm not necessarily like super excited for this one, but I'm sure I'll like it just the same. So
yeah. Well, I don't have much else to say.
Okay.
I'm ready to eat because I'm starving.
Yeah, I'm hungry. So thank you guys for listening today. If you're still with us, this was kind of a little bit of a rambly video, but that's okay. Or I keep saying video because I have a YouTube channel and I talk about it being a video. It's not a video. It's a podcast.
Yeah.
A kind of a rambling podcast. But we had a good time. This episode was fantastic.
Yeah. I guess we're just more excited about like what's to come with Daredevil because obviously we're getting 18 episodes of Daredevil Born
His
Again.
show is going to be so good.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
We'll have to rewatch the actual Daredevil TV show to get kind of pumped for that.
I don't know. We'll see.
And he's obviously going to show up in Echo. That's coming out here, I think, in the beginning of next year. And like maybe She-Hulk will show up in either like that or I think she'll definitely show up in Born Again for sure. And even if she's like just reaching out, not actually like there, you know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll show up at some point though.
Okay.
Oh, also, before I forget, the Bruce Banner as Hulk. His Hulk might show back up at the end of the episode.
Oh, also random. She made a reference to Red Hulk.
Yeah.
In this episode.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something we forgot to mention, but kind of random.
Yeah. Ooh, man.
That fourth wall stuff.
I know.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought this was, I know we were like trying to finish the episode here, but I feel like this episode did the best job with the fourth wall breaking.
I agree.
Like it was
episode 1 and this episode were the best.
Yeah, like this seemed the most natural and like the most like I actually cared about it. The other episodes I was like, why are you even breaking the fourth wall? It's stupid. Like it doesn't. Who even cares right now?
Yeah.
Because we're not getting anything of value. But like I felt like this episode, it just worked really well.
100%.
Anyway.
Okay. Why don't you do closing statements?
Okay.
Or did we already do that?
We were kind of in the middle of it. We keep getting caught up in a tangent. But anyway, thank you guys for listening today. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share on whatever platform you are listening. And we will talk to you soon.